1, 2, 3. Greetings, Americans, Americants, various horrified global onlookers. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fume. Da-da-da-da. There's no dancing today. Our necks are very stiff and sore from perfume bottling and perfume labeling. Normally not in our job description, but we have been helping out with the seasonal crush, and, you know, it does...
Now it's left us seasonally crushed.
Seasonally crushed.
Oh.
If you were watching this
Hello.
on the day it is released, we at Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, I'm sorry, I'm Tom.
I'm in pain.
What's left of Galen. And we at the lab today, Friday the 13th in the year 2020, Friday, November 13th, just to clarify, have released a series of new perfumes. We have our latest iteration of the Friday the 13th Good Luck perfume blend. Standard disclaimer, small text, like in a pharmaceutical ad across the screen. Will not stop a bullet, etc., etc. We also released, because we think we're very funny, we released a Four Seasons Alchemy Lab perfume blend with art from Drew Rausch. Just us having fun, being ourselves, our annoying, stupid-ass, cute selves. And then we have a mini collection of perfumes that also came out today that is called Georgia on My Mind, and it is created to help raise awareness and funds to help with Georgia's runoff elections that will help determine the outcome of the legislative race for the entire country for the next 4 years and onward. It's very important, and the proceeds for those perfumes will be donated to Fair Fight and Black Voters Matter, and there are 3 of them, and we'll just include the links to everything here in the YouTube abyss below. So that is the sort of like bulletin section of the video. Do you have any bulletin items? Just pain. But the main order of business today is that we are on weenie patrol. We actually have real binoculars we could have brought as a prop.
Oh, these are just fine.
Those will work just fine. Patrolling for weenies, we happen to have assembled a fine collection of the new Pile of Leaves perfume blends. Now, we do not have the complete array of them, and the 2 of them that we are missing happen to be the ones that I am most curious to smell, which is the Dead Leaves on Fire and the Dead Leaves Pistachio and Marshmallow situation. But we don't have those. We have, I think, pretty much all the rest of them. And for those of you who haven't gone on this particular journey with us, the lab has a particular Dead Leaves Accord that is our calling card around this time of year. It is just like an incredible Dead Leaves scent, and our Pile of Leaf collection is just like variations on this with, so many different perfume blends that have Dead Leaf as an anchor point, and from there the imagination just goes wild. Oh my gosh, we have 8 of them here. So, some of them, what I love about this collection is there's usually something for just about goddamn everybody. Someone, we've got you. You might not be like a Dead Leaves and Black Licorice person, but you might be a Dead Leaves, Blackcurrant, and Golden CHAMPA person. And unless you just hate the smell of dead leaves altogether, in which case, like, why are we friends? We're going to get you with something eventually. And I have to say, on a personal level, while I drop things, that the Dead Leaves stuff are among the perfumes that I end up wearing like way after fall is gone. I'm still wearing stuff from last year and the year before that. So, do you have any that you still wear from yesteryear? Fall of yore? You don't?
I don't.
I still wear the Dead Leaves and Red Carnations, and I still wear Dead Leaves, Green Cognac, and Tea Roses. When it's right, and then you hold on to it forever. As the talkative one and the one with a higher pain threshold, every relationship, it's important to identify who that person is. I'm just going to say that maybe it would help to start with the dead leaves, white sandalwood, and cannabis.
What?
Because I know you are the lab's resident cannabis note. I would say expert, but maybe also just aficionado, because you don't actually know what's in the cannabis note.
I don't.
Presumably it's not. It has no THC.
Yeah.
Do not vape it. Do not put it in your butt. Do not bake it into a cookie. Just dab it on your skin.
It's a perfume, y'all.
To be honest, this came up on our 420 video. I have a hard time smelling it sometimes. I think I'm just my sensors are just that blown out from years of
whatever
festivities
Beth has done to create this accord. It's kind of like a, flash in the pan. It's like really, you get it sometimes and then you don't. Other times you're like trying to look for it.
And the complication here is that sandalwood and dead leaves are also really kind of like twiggy, brown, natural scents that I can imagine would easily kind of like overlap, sidestep, do-si-do with it. So if I have a hard time picking out the cannabis note in like pumpkin doob, then in a dead leaves and sandalwood note, I might not have any hope. However, it is there. I can tell that it's greener than a lot of the dead leaves blends. Actually, I'm getting a little sense of that kind of like acrid weed bite.
Yeah.
But it's not super strong, and it's not the kind of thing where I think you're likely to get pulled over by your boss and asked a bunch of questions because you are giving off a troublesome vibe.
Yeah.
Just keep the eye drops handy. But not too handy, because if people see the eye drops and they smell the perfume, then you're probably done for.
Mm-hmm. To me, it just smells like you're kind of walking in a park in the fall and someone is maybe smoking a joint.
Like you are walking in the park in the fall.
Yes, you, the viewer.
You, the viewer.
Do not argue with me.
Also, I do like that it is like a white sandalwood. There's like actually something kind of fresh about the scent altogether.
Yeah, and the leaves have like a kind of freshness.
It's not like dark and moody. They're on the like more alive side of the dead leaves. But unlike a lot of the other kind of like fresh outdoorsy scents, it's like I'm not getting like grass, I'm not getting hay, I don't know. It's just its own sort of, lovely little universe.
Autumnal stoner. Yeah.
Did you try any on? Did you want?
I tried it on when I bottled it. And then I kept trying it on for the rest of the day because I was like, this is interesting.
I try on a lot of scents when I'm bottling, mainly because I end up getting them everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's on the table. I might as well like ...
That's how I tried that one on the first time, where I was just kind of like, just a drop landed on my hand. That's so inconvenient. Oh, dang.
So the risk with these is with so many scents with a similar note that we may actually lose track of the note itself. So we have our giant chock full of nuts can. This is not a product endorsement. It's just kind of like sniff and reset between each one.
Because otherwise we will go nose blind.
Nose blind. That is the action thriller movie starring the crew of BPAL.
One of these employees will go nose blind.
What if it's contagious? What if it's like some kind of like...
I've experienced nose blindness.
Let's switch to one over. Like, I want to keep like rotating through stuff that isn't too similar. This Dead Leaves Tunisian Amber and Smoked Balsam, which I admit to having tried on already, but I am obsessed with because the Lab's balsam note is like, I love it, and it's kind of like a nice kind of sweet, gummy, kind of a just rich and smooth and comforting, but it can go a little sweet, and in this blend, it really is smoked. It has like a wicked burn on it.
Yeah.
We don't have the Dead Leaves on fire, but this is kind of like the closest I think we're probably going to get, because
it's got a campfire smell.
Yeah, it does have a distinct campfire smell, and as I wear it, it kind of gets smokier, which means I think it's kind of outlasting the amber. And I love like a dirty amber. I was mentioning before that over the past year, a lot of the perfumes that I've ended up really loving have like a polluted, defiled distressed amber smell. So in this case, it has been buried in leaves and then set on fire, or at least evenly smoked. This really gets like the sense of walking around outdoors early in the morning in the autumn, especially in New England and all of the areas where people actually are burning things on purpose in a safe way. Like, you have to go pretty far out to get to a place where you can't smell somebody's chimney, and I just really like it. It's like you're out in the cold, but it's a comforting reminder that there are, humans about. Remember back in the days when you could be comforted by the fact that there were humans around? So it's nostalgic. But it does, and then the amber really highlights that balsam sweetness, but kind of also classes it up a little bit, in my opinion. But this is like, it's like I get a real place sense memory, and like crunching leaves and the whole bit. This is one I'm definitely keeping to wear after fall is over. I think it would smell even really good in the springtime. Next, let's do the Dead Leaves, Bourbon, and Bitter Almond.
Okay.
Now, we have also talked recently about how almond can be really overpowering in the bottle, and then also tends to change drastically on the skin. Like, if you smell this in the bottle, bam!
That's an almond.
You're maybe, like, I have been transformed into an almond, and I'm smelling myself, a full-sized human being turned into an almond. That's how much almond. And it has that sweetness.
It's a weird mental picture.
Yeah. How do you think I feel?
I'm just picturing an almond wearing that shirt. With like a little face on it.
We need like CGI. We need a CGI budget. I'm basically talking almond right now. You have to use your imagination.
And it is bourbon.
It is bourbon, and there is a boozy, like,
yeah,
like the fellow on the subway.
It blends well with the almond.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It actually smells like a really fancy cocktail with bitters, which I know is something that, people like. And I do know from trying this on, though, the other day, that the almond, the sweetness of that, like, that potent almond smell mellows out pretty quickly. And then you're left with this like bitter almond edge, and then you've got that wonderful kind of like woody bourbon smell, that like casked bourbon. And then and again, we didn't remember to huff our chock full of nuts before smelling this, but of the ones that I've smelled, I didn't get as strong of a dead leaves situation here. And I just think it's because the scents really blend well together.
Yeah.
And overall, it's just like this is definitely like an evening scent in my brain. In my poor scent-polluted almond brain. I could really just sit and smell it all day. Like, because of the bourbon, it's like it actually has like a spiciness to it. It has a bit of a singe. The almond is only just like faintly sweet. The dead leaves just kind of like mellows everything out. It's just gorgeous. It smells like a fancy gentleman. It's like the fancy gentleman that I almost never dress as. So it gives me a lot to consider about gender. Now why don't we move on to a different cocktail blend, because we have a dead leaves and absinthe.
The Green Fairy.
We have, what did you call me?
Sorry.
I'm the Green Fairy when I consume.
You were an almond.
When I consume too much cannabis accord. We have, the lab has in the general category a really beautiful absinthe perfume blend. So the lab's absinthe perfume oil in the general catalog says wormwood essence, light mints, cardamom, anise, hyssop, and the barest hint of lemon. And one of my favorite all-time weenies, which we did not re-release this year, is the pumpkin spiced absinthe, which is just like a dream come true to me. I don't really know how much of the actual GC absinthe blend is in this, or if she just took like the wormwood accord or whatever, but I am getting a hint of the lemon, something lemony. So I think it might be a proper descendant of the... Whoa. Really, really just whooshes off the skin.
Yes.
Like the throw on this, I think, must be... The dead leaves note in general, I think, has a lot of throw.
Yeah.
And that can be affected by what it's blended with, but this just flies off the skin. I didn't even have to move my arm all the way here to smell it. This is really wonderful and fresh, and it does have like an alcohol singe to it, but it's not like sweet and boozy, you know? It's dry. It reminds me of a little bit of embalming fluid.
That makes sense. Given the notes.
Yes. It's interesting to see how, for example, what I love about the pumpkin spice absinthe is how the sweetness of the pumpkin spice and everything really just gives this, you know, character to the absinthe, and this is a whole different character. It's dry, it's light, it will knock you in your ass. There is an airplane flying overhead. Already on the skin, even within a few moments, that familiar absinthe, you know, the anise, the licorice-y absinthe component is stepping forward.
And what is it saying? Hello.
It's saying, cancel tomorrow morning's meeting now. Because you're not going to make it.
Oh.
I really love this. I would put it side by side with any of the other absinthe perfume blends that I love. I was a little startled by how just kind of like crackling dry it was. And I'm like, well, that's kind of intense and it's not as inviting. But like immediately upon drying down, I'm just getting kind of like a more of a swirls of mystery experience, and the dead leaves just like naturally fits with it so well. I don't know why we didn't do this before, because we can only release so many goddamn perfumes every year. That's why. I definitely have to smell the coffee can, because I do want to swerve from this directly into something that might be similar, or might not be.
And I'm awake. No, just kidding. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did. Only a smell of coffee could wake you up.
Oh, can you imagine? You just pour a cup of like dry coffee into your coffee mug and smell it, and then pour it out, and then go sit down and get to work.
Wow. And then pour it out.
Just like I still want to incorporate the mug somehow. So yes, I want to do the dead leaves and black licorice next, because I know there must have been people out there who were like, dead leaves and absinthe, dead leaves and black licorice. What are y'all smoking over there?
We're smoking the dead leaves, white sandalwood, and cannabis accord.
Exactly.
Just kidding. We're not smoking it because it's a perfume. We don't smoke perfume.
Never do that. We are role models for children who like goth stuff and would never...
I'm not a role model for children. No way.
No way. I have to, when we make these videos, I have to actually click the thing where it's like, is this made for people under 18? And I'm always like, no, it is not. It's not that like there's anything really harmful about what we're doing. It's just that no one should try to be like us. Our reality is not, representative of what young people will find out there today. So... Anyway,
the perfume.
The perfume, dead leaves and black licorice. How redundant could it possibly be next to the absinthe? Let's put them, head to head.
I'm kind of nervous about this one. I am not a licorice fan.
Oh, really? Well, you're going to have to get over that, because I'm going to be alternating between these two perfumes every day for the next 6 months. So...
It's not for me.
Here's what it is for.
It's for you.
What this is... do you know the phenomenon of like chewing on an actual licorice root? Do you know people do this? It's like a thing you do. It freshens the breath, it relaxes the mind, it destroys your oral health. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I assume it might be like kind of good. The way giving a dog like a pig ear to chew on is good. Like breaks up the plaque. All I know is that it's a thing in the natural, like old-fashioned hippie world, especially. Like, you can buy licorice twigs to chew on at the counter at, like, some organic stores.
I did not know that.
Like, licorice can go in a tea. You can do lots of things with a licorice twig. It is an extremely versatile instrument. But chewing on it is a thing you can do. And it has that truly pure, like rooty, woody, twiggy taste along with the licorice taste, and then none of the sugar that you're used to from gobbling black jelly beans growing up. So it's kind of its own experience. And this perfume is the closest I have ever gotten to smelling that experience in a perfume. Like the black licorice note is used sparingly and often mixed with other things. Like it shows up in some Yule stuff that I love. This really has that pure licorice twig between the back teeth kind of smell.
Ew. Do you also have dead leaves in the back of your mouth?
Well, that's where I think the twigginess comes from. You know what I mean? It's like a twiggy black licorice. And on the skin, I have to say, the licorice part is already just like kind of like amping up. Like we're off to the races. So.
Is that why my eyes are burning?
Yes. Do you want to smell it on me? No. Do you want to listen to airplanes go past?
No.
While I reek of black licorice. Are we in a living nightmare? Your living nightmare?
Am I asleep? Did I ever wake up?
It's really potent, and I have to say the licorice, I can tell, also has a strong throw. So if you want to be that person, like this is where you take something you love and then you make everyone else deal with it. Why not? They've been doing it to you all this time. It's like weaponized herbalism. Anyway, I love this. And I guess I've learned a lot about how often I'll be wearing it just from this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What did you mouth?
No, it didn't say anything. So we only have a few of these left, and one that we will now smell is...
And one that we will now smell.
Maybe I should smell the coffee can again. Is Dead Leaves, Red Currant, and Tuberose. I always, okay, with this note, you say tuberose, tuberose. I remember in Sunset Boulevard where he describes Norma Desmond's perfume and how she always, her perfume smelled of tuberoses, which he says is not my favorite smell, I think. Do you remember this quote?
Yeah.
And I catch it every time. Tuberoses. I mean, I guess... It's just like, I'm sure that's just like how it was referred to.
Maybe.
At the time. I don't see it listed as tube roses anymore. Maybe the joke is that he doesn't know shit about perfume.
Maybe that's just how William Holden says the word.
Also, right, and no one stood up to him. Also, it just like sounds so funny to me because when I think of tube roses, I just get like some very funny mental pictures.
Yeah.
Tube roses.
Funny looking roses.
It's like a tube rose. You know?
But what does it smell like?
What does it smell like? Well, this batch smells like Dead Leaves and Red Currant. Which, ooh. So this is kind of the first really fruity of the Dead Leaves ones that we've smelled. I'm not counting that hint of lemon in the absinthe. This one I'm getting the dead leaves part quite a lot. And
Same, yeah.
I think it's because the sweetness of the fruit, actually, you get more of that contrast, which is what I really, that's kind of why I love the tea roses and green cognac one, because it has like a bit of a sweetness and then a tartness from the roses. And then it really makes that dead leaves note just like whap, you know, and you can really tell everything apart.
Yeah. There's
like a nice tart fruit in this. I mean, it is singing with the tuberoses though, which is also, hasn't been a lot of floral in what we've smelled so far either, so I guess that's probably why it's standing out. I feel like we're falling into that trap where a lot of perfumes with a similar notes, and then like the differences stand way out. That being said, it's just very elegant.
Oh, I like that. Much better than the licorice.
That's the threshold. That's all you have to say. If you told me there was like a red currant in here, like, if you hadn't told me, I don't think I would be able to pick it out, really.
What would you think you're smelling?
I don't know, there's definitely just kind of like a red, like a tart red thing, but it's not so sweet that I'm even like registering it as like a really fruity note.
Yeah. It's just sort of a tartness.
Like a fall bouquet that has the like red berries in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, this is reminding me of Central Park. like some kind of Central Park walk. I like that there's like something alive in there, you know. I think that's why I like the Tea Roses one from last year also. Like it's just a kind of a whole different mood shift where it's like dead leaves and then like a living thing.
It's alive.
We especially need to
Diving in.
smell the coffee because one of the remaining ones is the Dead Leaves Blackcurrant and Golden Champa.
Uh-oh.
Rival currents, separated at birth, now meeting in the wrestling ring.
Who will win?
Who? Ugh. Well, I'm just saying I wouldn't count the blackcurrant out.
Oh, I like this.
Oh, this is so different. This one is like more rich and mysterious and unabashedly fruity.
The Champa really sweetens everything up.
It reminds me of one of the Skeksis perfumes because it's like a dark, fruity incense.
Mm-hmm.
You know? The dead leaves are getting trampled in this. I don't smell them as much. Like if you're smelling it side by side with the red currant, is a much more there's like a lot more leaves flying around, and with this one, whew, it's just very deep and very dark and shiny.
Shiny. Yeah. Radiant.
Yeah, I mean it really has like kind of like some interesting nose sparkles going on. Really sophisticated perfume content. The kind of reviews that I just know people are willing to back up with. Lots of cash money sales.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's take a risk based on someone saying that the perfume smelled shiny. Dark and shiny.
You know what I mean. You get it.
Here's the thing, the currant is actually still fairly like, it's tart and a little bit bitter. It's not really sweet. It reminds me of as a kid, like you think wine is gonna taste like, and then you taste it, and it's actually this entire other thing. You know? Mm-hmm.
Garbage.
Like this is not like a fruit that I would want to eat.
Yeah.
Whereas like the blackcurrant pie is like a different version of what I'm assuming is the same note that is just entirely different. So, really fascinating. And that leaves us with one left, which is the Dead Leaves, White Champa, and Palo Santo.
Ooh, another Champa.
Now with the Palo Santo,
Champa,
it's like
Champa.
we're smudging at the end of all of this to banish the ghosts of the 7 other
Dead leaves. When a leaf dies, it leaves behind a ghost.
Oh my god, when you think about how many ghosts that means there
Tons.
are in the world. Just between the dead leaves and like ants, for example, just think about all the ghosts. Billions. Billions and billions.
Oh, whoa.
What?
What?
A different thing. So I'm actually kind of tracking the Champa a little bit from the last one into this one. Gotta find some clean arm real estate here.
Fresh. It has like a fresh quality, not like a green fresh, but just like the Palo Santo smells really fresh. The Champa smells really fresh.
Yeah, it's definitely like the like a living wood left
really
to
like
dry
this.
kind of thing. It is fresh. I mean, that's the funny thing about the dead leaves note is that it can kind of be like gritty, or it can be fresh. It kind of has like its own little ecosystem going on as it is, and it plays with other stuff so differently. Yeah, this really reminds me of like cut branches like left to dry out. Does that sound weird?
No, that makes sense.
It has like a smell of like chopped living wood.
I agree.
I was curious about whether it would be like the burning Palo Santo note that, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people burn it in like a smoky smell, and it actually is really about the wood itself. And there's kind of like, I think, enough like resin in there to take it to an incensey place, but it's not like a burning incense stick. It's just like the smell of the incense stick like out of the package.
Brushed against your nose.
And the kind of like we've seen with a couple of other the dead leaves note is more like complementing the woodiness and the, you know, sort of a like organic nature of the other notes without sort of really asserting itself clearly to me as like, oh, there's the dead leaves. When it has something else to stick to that it makes sense to associate it with, I think my brain just kind of like blurs it together. It is funny too because the CHAMPA has like a sweetness, right? So like, but I smell it more in the bottle, on the skin, like really not so much. And it kind of just smells like a kind of a clean, fresh, outdoor smell, like someone who's been camping for a couple of days. I don't know. That's what I'm getting from it, but like not in the bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to offer my reviews of Dead Leaves on Fire, or what is it, Dead Leaves, Pistachio Cream, and Marshmallow, because that just sounds like my perfect fall dessert. You just sprinkle the dead leaves on top of the tart.
Dead leaf crumbles.
Yeah. So, that is literally all that we have to smell, though. So, we will actually look forward to reading your reviews of the ones that we're missing, because I don't even know when we'll get them. Things are just so higgledy-piggledy about, like, what we are able to get our hands on right now. So, honestly, if there are people out there waiting on their orders, I'd rather you get your Dead Leaves on Fire than us getting a bottle.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I guess the stuff that we just announced, hopefully we'll have soon, and we'll be able to smell that and share perceptions about it. And then other weenies, by and by, I think we will have.
Yeah.
Just, you know, so much to look forward to together in the fall. And that's our video for today.
It is, isn't it?
I'm Tom, and this is 1/3 of Galen.
Yeah. Sorry, low energy today.
Yeah.
The shoulders are stiff. Ouch.
Yeah. So be safe out there, and we will see you again soon. That's literally all for now.